Hi, good evening. My name is Nagesh Rajanala, and I'm a volunteer with the Orissa Society of America's Health and Wellness Group. Last week, I brought a video to you that talked about the scope of a project that we're running to bring relief operations to the COVID affected in the state of Orissa, India. This is my weekly update in terms of the activities that we have done in the last 1 week and the progress that we have made. As I mentioned to you, the relief operations are focusing on the state of Orissa and a few locations in Orissa. And I had shared with you the details of what we're going to do, right? The oxygen shelters, the ambulance assistance, the food assistance for the people there, and also the migrants who are returning back from outside of Orissa. And the program is running in a few cities. Initially, the start was for Bhubaneswar, for Titlagarh and for Baleswar. But in the last few days and a couple of weeks, we are starting to see new locations crop up because of very high positivity rates for COVID testing. And those are Sambalpur, Berhampur, Angul, and Keonjhar as well. So we are seeing how best we can expand our services and help people in need in those areas as well. So let's get to the update. So in terms of the oxygen and the kits that are needed for all the shelters to run, they're on the way. The supplier has received our order and we've already paid the initial amounts that are needed to get the supplies on the way. And we are expecting to receive 150 cylinders of oxygen by the middle of next week, and then they'll be moved to the shelters, and then we should have the shelters operational. In terms of the ambulances, the ambulance for Titlagarh has been approved and the ambulance is ready to be delivered. So we are hoping that it will be driving on the streets sometime in the middle of next week. So we are waiting to see that in action as well. The ambulance for Bhubaneswar has been ordered, and that also is in the process of getting done and delivered to us. We are still trying to get an ambulance for the city of Berhampur and the suburbs of Berhampur, and that we are still awaiting a pledge from a donor to help us get that organized as well. I'm very happy to report that the Bhubaneswar shelter was inaugurated just a couple days back. You would have seen news reports in your social media feed that this is active and running operationally, and we've already started seeing patients. The good part has been that we've established a call center where patients are able to call and they go through an initial screening process, and then we make a recommendation whether they should straight away go to a hospital or they should come to the shelter, and that is fully operational right now. It's a beautiful 30-bed facility that has been organized, and we are getting extremely good feedback in terms of how the service is panning out to the patients in. At this point, let me introduce you to a couple of our team leads who are running the food assistance program, and let's hear from them how they are designing and planning the intervention, how they are talking about to the partners on the ground, how they're organizing the whole area. So let's say hello to Chandana and to Biswajit. Hello, I am very happy now to introduce to you our core coordinators for the food assistance program, Chandana and Biswajit. Chandana is an educator in the school system in Edison, and she brings a lot of wisdom and experience from her teaching experience to the food assistance program. Biswajit, on the other hand, works in the financial industry, and he's extremely good at numbers and how he can identify the populations that need help, how much help we need to provide, and how do we translate that into funding dollars that we need to collect and use for this purpose. So let's start off with Biswajit, and I will ask him how he goes about identifying the need back in Odisha as to which people and which areas need help from a food perspective.
Sure. Biswajit, thank you, Nagesh. Sure. Thank you, Nagesh. In fact, we have been trying to reach out various organizations for last few weeks. We have spoken to a number of NGOs who are actually working on the ground. Our core set of volunteers also have tried to reach out to a number of people, based on their contacts. And we've also spoken to a number of journalists in that areas, trying to identify where actually there's a genuine need. Right? So we're trying to identify where we have genuine need and it's not been covered, so that OSA can go there and help and cover those areas and try to provide the food services in those areas.
Thank you. So obviously, OSA is not the person on the ground who is preparing and serving the food. So Chandana, how do you go about establishing whether the partners that we are working with or we are choosing are able to do the right thing in terms of the food preparation and so on to meet our objectives?
As Biswajit said, that we actually talk to journalists, and I personally send them to go see the facilities and everything, and then after that we decide. We also talk to them by Zoom call or conference call, and then we say that these are the protocol they have to follow, like wearing masks, gloves, and head covering, and it has to be properly sanitized, and the packing has to be very well done when it is going to quarantine people as well as to the people in the hospital. So then we decide after that, we talk to multiple vendors, then we decide where the price and what it is, whether then we go check on that base and then we go to the lower price, and then we also see properly how they are giving, what they are giving, nutrition wise and everything, that also we check.
That is good to know. Looks like both of you have established a process by which we are able to evaluate and properly vet the vendors and the partners that we are working with, so to make sure that they carry our objectives forward. So, Biswajit, can you give an example in any of the locations where we are starting the food service, what it looks like on the ground?
Sure. In fact, if you look at Bhubaneswar, right? I think Bhubaneswar being the capital city of Orissa, there are a number of organizations actually providing food services on the ground. But after talking to many groups as well as individual people, what we found out was if you look at the government hospitals, right, and specifically the AIIMS and the Capital Hospital, which are the bigger units in Bhubaneswar, on Sundays, actually, the government Ahar Kendra is closed. And because it's on there is no food services by the government, a lot of people actually having a lot of hardship, specifically the attendants, right, who have come for their relatives to the hospital. They are having a hard time in terms of getting food. Specifically now, a lot of this closed down. All these markets are closed and everything. So that is why one of the first things we're trying to do is we're starting a Sunday service on these 2 hospitals in Bhubaneswar, where we have partnered with 2 NGOs where they can provide food for the people who are in need, specifically the attendants who are attending their relatives in those hospitals.
That is good to know. And Chandra, can you talk about the western side of the state where we are trying to launch the food services, especially in the Sambalpur area?
In Sambalpur and Burla, they're combined. In Burla 1 and 2, there's 2 COVID hospitals. And in Sambalpur, there is only 1 COVID hospital. And they're planning to open another one by next month, I think, or no, by mid-June, they will be opening the other one. They also have the same problems with the Ahar Kendras are open Monday to Saturday, and they are closed on Sundays. So we talked to many people, we talked to a few organizations like Rotary Club and Sambal and other places. And then they told us, like Juba Mancha and another organization called Pratyasa and Juba Mancha. They are actually providing food to them. So then we thought, let's stay for some time. Now we will wait a little bit since they already have. There is no point of spending more money and more time on that one and doing that distribution. So we told one of the organization that they are giving the quarantine foods right now, and they have a Kalyan Mandap where right now no wedding and nothing is going on. So they're using that kitchen, and I also saw that it's very clean and very appropriately done. And we asked pictures and videos, and that also came from them and from our source. So we combined them and we saw that is good. So then we told them that whatever they're giving right now, they have that money. So we told them that when you have more coming, then we can chip in with that extra.
Can you talk a little bit about the beneficiaries? Who are the people in the Sambalpur area who are in need of the food assistance, and how are they identifying who are the people they should be serving?
The food, that one is going, the one I just talked about. They are giving to the home quarantine people, and it is coming directly from the doctors. These are the patients, their whole family is affected, so nobody is there to cook, or they have children and they cannot cook. So those are going there, and the others are in the hospitals, right in front of the hospitals, like Budlak 1 and Budlak 2 and the Sambalpur hospital. As Biswajit said, that the relatives or attendants, they are there and they are just using the Ahar Kendras. So Sundays, now we were thinking of giving the money, then we realized 2 vendors are doing it. So then we did.
Biswajit, can you talk about how far have you been able to reach? Because the state of Odisha is almost a state of 2 tales. There is one area in the east coast which is easily accessible, and we are able to provide more services. But there are also very difficult to reach areas. So how far are you able to make the reach into the state?
Yeah, in fact, one of the big challenge what we all can see is the rural areas, right? Because if you look at even Orissa, I think the urban areas there are a number of NGOs have come up and they're trying to, provide the help however they can. But if you specifically look at the rural areas, there is very least covered. So that is one of our core focus. And when you're talking to the NGOs on different sites, we're trying to see, which are the areas at least we can extend the service and we can reach out to the rural people, right? Just an example, the first one we're starting is Nuapada and on the western side, actually, on the western Orissa, the Nuapada and the Kharia Road. These are the two areas we have found some NGOs who are doing some work in that area, and we're partnering with them to provide food services as well as grocery assistance in those areas. And that has been our, kind of a continuous focus. Whichever agencies we're trying to contact and talk, discussing about the services, we are trying to see how they can, reach out to the outside of the city areas and go to the rural areas and explore, provide the help services to people who are in need. We are talking to Berhampur. Yeah, we're talking to Berhampur also. Again, Berhampur, there also we're trying to reach out outskirts of Berhampur and, villages area, how we can reach out and all.
That is good. So I'm so happy to hear that you have a well thought out, well designed approach and a plan to identifying both the areas that are in need and also the partners who can best serve those areas. So that's very good to hear directly from both of you. Thank you both of you for your service to both to the Orissa Society of Americas and also to our motherland of the state of Orissa. Thank you again. And we will get in touch with you once the food services have started, and hopefully we will see some pictures and videos of the food services being delivered on the ground, and you can walk us through how you're managing that whole area.
Yeah? Absolutely.
Thank you. We'll see you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Nagesh.
Since we recorded this discussion with Biswajit and Chandana, the food services have actually started on the ground. What you're seeing on the video right now are the food being distributed in front of the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Bhubaneswar. The people who are receiving the food are relatives of the patients who are in the hospital. It's Sunday night in Bhubaneswar, and given the lockdown situation, there are no food services available on the Sunday, and it's a great time for us to deliver this service, and people will find it actually very beneficial to have the service. Was our food assistance committee or volunteers who are working in that space. I would like to now introduce you to a couple of really young people who have very passionately helped in the fundraising area.
Hi, as I promised you, I wanted to introduce you to two of our very passionate and committed fundraisers. Say hello to Laura and Aryahi. Both of them have single-handedly raised more than $2,000 each for the cause. So let's start with Laura. Laura, talk about yourself, which grade you are in, where you study.
Hello, my name is Laura. I'm in 6th grade. I study at Dakota Meadows Middle School in Mankato, Minnesota.
And how about Aryahi?
My name is Aryahi. I'm 7 years old. I'm in 2nd grade and I study in Mount Pleasant Elementary School in Livingston, New Jersey.
Okay. Both of you made a splash in the community news all of last 2 weeks or so, because you guys single-handedly raised about $2,000 or more through your efforts and your ideas. So let's talk about what you did. So again, Aryahi, maybe you can start this time. How did you go about doing the fundraising, organizing yourself and getting the donations from people?
So I told them what I was doing and how I could help, and they kind of felt like they wanted to help. So they donated some money to us. So we helped. So we gave them a thank you and we gave them some chocolate chip cookies for a thank you.
That is wonderful. Chocolate chip cookies do a lot of magic for you, right? How about you, Laura? I understand you did snacks.
So the first thing I had in mind was to make an Excel sheet for like an order log. And I went and I bought some Indian snacks to deliver to houses. I thought that maybe in this way, Indian snacks could become popular. And also we could help India in this COVID-19 crisis.
That is wonderful.
So, yeah.
So how many snack boxes did you have to give out in order to raise the $2,000?
Well, we've like delivered more than, I think, 100. Yeah.
That's great. Interesting. So what motivates you? Why were you interested in doing this? What caused you to look at this and say, I want to do something about it? Laura, go ahead.
Okay. Well, last year I did a fundraiser like this, and it helped New York a lot. I had raised around $1,000. So that actually motivated me a lot to do this fundraiser and help India. Also because every single night, like my parents come together and they sit at these OSA health and wellness meetings. That just inspired me, and I thought that I should contribute something to India right now.
That is wonderful. How about you, Arya? What do you like? What do you think is going on? Why did you want to do this?
Because I feel bad when the people in Odisha suffer. So I want to make their lives easier. So because the medical help is really far away. So I wanted to make their lives easier for them.
That is so great. So, quick word with mom, Rashmi. It is wonderful that the children have done so well. I think it's a great parenting moment as well. They've learned such a lot. They've set goals. They've organized a strategy around how they're going to do it. They've created a pitch of how they're going to talk to people, and then they achieve their goal. What do you think as a parent?
I feel really proud about it because it's a lot of things. Like last year, one of her friends, she was doing a campaign for donating masks. And she was very impressed with that, and she wanted to help. And when I came about like OSA Health and Wellness Group doing this favor to people and trying to help all around, then I just introduced that to her, and she was very fascinated. And doing the chocolate chip cookies thing, which I haven't started yet. I have a huge list of things. Maybe I have to make a bakery or something like that. Maybe to give it to people. So when I get to the SOC, like I wanted to thank people with that, and I said like that's great. I mean, their thoughts are small, but their efforts are like going up. Like good job, Laura and Aryahi. They are doing really good job. Like I know they have a very good future ahead. This is a small fun step, but it's gonna go really big.
That's great. So we'll give the last word to Laura. Laura, what is a message you'd like to pass on to people who are watching this? What would you like to say, both young people and adults who are watching this video?
I would like to say that no matter what age you are, you can always contribute. You can always help people who are in need. It doesn't matter if you're smaller.
In terms of the fundraising status, you'll recall that we had an initial goal of $361,000 to run these services for 2 months. At this point, we are at about $180,000 or so. And if anything, the demand for services is gone up. The number of locations where these requests are coming from has gone up. So we need more donations to sustain these operations. So we've raised about 180,000. What that allows us to do is start off the shelters, start off the ambulance processes, and then run this probably for 3 weeks or so. But beyond that, we need more funds to sustain. So if you've contributed and you can do more, please do step up, and we will thank you for that. If you're able to talk to your friends, please do talk to them, explain the project to them, share the videos with them, and request some donations from them. And also, if you want to run a fundraiser for yourself, like the little young ones that you saw just now running fundraisers in their neighborhoods, we'd welcome that as well. Thank you again for all that you have done for this project and the help that you are extending to the people in Orissa. And I will get back to you next week again with another progress report, and we'll see where we stand. And I'm very optimistic that we will have a lot of good things delivered and a lot of lives saved. And I'll be happy to report all of that information back to you. Thank you and have a good weekend.